I feel like our top five, both definitely the same: Juju Smith-Schuster, McCole Hardman, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore, Justin Watson. Mark, any objections?
No objections on my top five there.
Alrighty. Now comes down to the last spot. Do you have Darius Fountain or Cornell Powell or Corey Coleman, or do you have Josh Gordon making it in?
I initially had two guys making it of that group because I thought that maybe I could put one of the tight ends in a certain spot on the roster, but I found out that I can't do that. So I'm just going to stick with Darius Fountain as my wide receiver 6 and special teams guy.
Sure. And he made it out of camp last year, and I believe they only carried 5. So like he didn't not do anything in the preseason enough, and he didn't mess up enough. He did enough to stick. I think Corey Coleman flashed a little bit as a return guy, veteran, not gonna stick. I don't think I could see him being a practice squad guy. I think Cornell Powell, he flashed, but again, they cut him last preseason and put him on the practice squad. So I don't think they owe him anything. This comes down to, is Josh Gordon going to be that last X factor? I don't think so. I hate to say it because everyone likes a comeback story. He had his comeback story. He got back to the NFL. He caught a touchdown last season. The Josh Gordon experiment hasn't gone as just about any planned, specifically the Chiefs. He just doesn't have it anymore, I don't think. And part of that absolutely is lack of opportunity, or poor circumstance, or, whatever. Learning the offense, not being in football shape. Like this season, he had no reason to not stand out. Still didn't get a ton of balls thrown his way, but when you can't complete the catch for a couple of them, you don't get a ton. It's not like he was going to get a 15 throw sample size to prove that he's the guy. He was going to have everything break right, and it didn't. So he doesn't have the special teams versatility of Fountain. He's not as young as Fountain is. I hate to be that guy. Josh Gordon just doesn't really fit into that top 6, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, I was thinking about Josh Gordon over the past few days just because, it was a good story that he made it back. The big thing for me was him not making the postseason roster,
And they picked Fountain over him like that.
Yeah,
that tells you right there.
There was a time that I think they could have really used them in that Bengals game. It was the time when they had 3 times to throw the ball into the end zone from the 2-yard line. They couldn't get in. They threw it to Tyreek Hill. He couldn't get past the end zone. He couldn't get out of bounds. Time ran out, which at the time we're like, they're still ahead by 17. They end up losing that game. So that's one of those times where you were hoping that Gordon could have been a guy that could be there in the red zone to help you get a touchdown in those type of situations. This year, I think they're going to be going to either we haven't got to tight ends yet, so I don't want to get into it too much, but
we all know he's going to make it. You can go ahead.
I think Jody Fortson is going to be that guy this year. So that's another reason why I don't think that Gordon needs to make the team. They've got guys like Jody Fortson, Justin Watson that can be that guy maybe in the red zone if they need somebody. So yeah, unfortunately for Gordon, he had no targets in the final game of the preseason, which, wow, I was not expecting that. I thought he'd get some looks, but man, I just remember watching him. So I was like at the game on Thursday in the upper level, and I was watching Josh Gordon on a few of the plays that he was out there just to see if he was going to get it. And he just had this kind of, the body language was not there, man.
Yeah.
It was he did a route that was actually a running play, but he had to do the route just to like try to fake out the corner or whatever. And he ran from the 30-yard line all the way to the end zone. And then he just walks over to the sideline and slowly walks back to the bench. I'm like, oh man, it is the end for Gordon. That's how I knew it was the end for Gordon. He just had enough. I mean, he knew what was coming.
Yeah, I feel for him. Like, he had such a talented career ahead. He was talented. He had the production for a single season back in 2013. It was a long time ago, and like bounced in and out of the league, bounced between clubs. Just getting back and being quote unquote clean, in the eyes of the NFL. Not that I don't want to get into all that. But getting his life and career back on track, that's huge, man. And like he can still be really successful in whatever he does. He could still be deemed successful in football, just not relative to what he could have been. And like getting back, he could have easily called it quits and not trained for, a year plus, not applied for reinstatement, not tried to join a new club, not sat through learning Andy Reid's offense, not sat through not getting many opportunities, not sat through coming back on a futures contract, not sat through training camp, all that stuff. He did all that. And by all accounts, he had a good attitude through it all. I think now probably just setting in that this is the end of the maybe I can crack the top 5 wideouts, maybe I can crack the top 6. And like obviously the Chiefs haven't officially cut him yet, but like he's not gonna make the team. It's not gonna happen. So maybe I could see him being a potential practice squad guy, like if he wants to stick around the organization, maybe. He is like 30, 31. So he's not ancient, but like I get the argument of, oh, he only has so many miles on his body. He has the mileage of a 27-year-old. But like age doesn't always work that way, I think.
Yeah.
And like even for normal human beings, they can feel those differences between 27 and 31 or 25 and 30, whatever it is. So wishing him the best of luck. I feel like I'm writing a eulogy or like speaking it right now. Like Josh Gordon's still with us, but he won't be with the Chiefs, I don't think, come 3 p.m. on Tuesday.